Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR. We've got a lot to talk about going on in the Big Ten. We are presented to you by FanDuel. We appreciate you listening in to the show. We're going to have a good time tonight, previewing all of Week 6 tonight here for the Big Ten. We're going to go through every single game, give score predictions, give our thoughts on the game, pressure, who's not. Going to give some insights into some injury updates for certain teams as well. And I might do something irresponsible, dare I say, reckless tonight, and I'm ready to make it happen. I know another guy who's never afraid to be irresponsible or reckless. It's Zach Guggenheim.
You're just going to tease us with that you're going to be reckless and irresponsible?
Well, with one of my picks.
Do tell. What are you going to do?
You see the picks. You have the sheet.
I do
see the picks.
You're right. I know what you're doing.
Okay.
What's
happening.
You're going to pick Kent State over an SEC team for the upset. That's what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, is Kent State playing an SEC? Are they playing Florida State?
No, Kent State. No, Florida State's playing Miami.
Oh, that's right. Kent State was a couple weeks ago or something.
Kent State's playing Oklahoma without John Mateer.
Oklahoma, that's right.
Kent State over Oklahoma. Calling it.
Is that your official SEC pick?
Heck no.
Okay. Boy, how fun would that be though if Oklahoma lost to Kent State?
I would do a victory lap of epic proportions.
Do you think Kent State would be ranked after that?
No, gosh, no.
Really? Number 8 team in the nation. You beat them. You don't get ranked. Northern Illinois got ranked after they beat Notre Dame.
Kent State is 1-3.
I mean,
well, hold on. Kent State
they beat Merrimack.
Yeah, and they lost 62-14 to Texas Tech. They lost respectively to Buffalo, and then 66-10 to Florida State.
Well, you can't win them all, Zach. I mean,
yeah, that's not just not winning.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of like Kent State's motto at this point. Like, don't expect us to win it all. Please, don't expect us not to win them all. Don't expect us to win at all.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, man. All right, let's see. We got Max in the chat. We'll say hello to Max, and then we'll get going. Max says, let's see. Paul Fraudbaum is thinking about running for Senate. This man has the worst ideas and beliefs of anyone on TV. For all that is good, will people please start watching him on TV and listening to his radio show? We need to get his ratings up so he stays away from legislative process. Yeah, Zach, we do not normally discuss the goings and movings of the political system here on this show. However, I think this could unify most sports fans. Paul Fraudbaum, not really politics material.
I said let him run.
I would like to point
just so he can experience a big L.
I would like to point out. Well, has he not already experienced big L's, Zach?
Yeah, but this would be the biggest one.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He's pretty torn up about the SEC. I was gonna say he said that he would leave the country if the SEC doesn't win the national championship this season. I don't know about you, but I want my politicians to be Americans and be willing to stick it through thick and thin. That's my political stance on this show.
America.
I hope everybody can rally behind that one.
America.
Yeah, that's all we'll say on politics tonight. Yes, Max. Crazy stuff. All right. We are going to cover every single Big Ten game here. There's only 7 of them, but we do want to try and get through them in a timely manner. So let's go ahead and start with the first Big Ten game we'll cover. It is Minnesota at Ohio State. Ohio State currently favored in this one by 23.5. The over-under is set at 44.5. And right now, if you look at the stats of where the money is going, 94% of bets. Can you guess who 94% of the bets are on to cover the spread in this one, Zach?
I think it's probably Ohio State.
Yep, Ohio State. 85% of the money is on Ohio State this season so far. You have Minnesota 1-3 against the spread. Ohio State is 3-1 against the spread, and they are 1-3 in the over unders. So they've gone over once, under 3 times this season. Zach, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that
I forgot to mute, didn't I?
yes, you did. I just was about to mute you. Yeah, we're allergy season.
I did the thing where I stopped the camera. I remember that much. Sorry, go ahead.
That's what we think about this game.
I didn't connect my microphone last episode. I'm blowing my nose in the microphone this episode. Why do people listen to this show? I'm not sure.
Because we're lovable and we make people laugh, like Max.
Yes. Thank you for laughing at me, Max. I appreciate that.
So if I'm being honest, I think Minnesota fans are going to hate my pick in this game because they're going to think it's about that I think Minnesota's bad. And that's not what I think. I do think this is a bad matchup for them. I think if you look back at the Washington game, there was just a lot of things that were in Washington's favor that made that game, from a score perspective, a little bit more respectable, right? Ohio State slowed the game down because Washington had legitimate dudes at running back, wide receiver, and quarterback. And not just legitimate dudes, explosive dudes in Denzel Boston and Jonah Coleman and Damon Williams. They were at Washington, which is a really hard place to play. They had to go cross country, which is just another obstacle. And it was the first time that Julian Sayin had to deal with crowd noise like that. So like a lot against them. And so Ohio State was kind of buttoned up close to the vest, and they tried to slow the game down. Here's the problem with this matchup. Drake Lindsey's really good. Like, he's a very good passer. He is not the most mobile quarterback, and he's behind an offensive line that's not the greatest. Your running back situation at Minnesota is questionable. Darius Taylor, we're not sure about his status. Most likely going to still be out because of a hamstring issue. AJ Turner, your second string back, we're not sure about either. So, like, not a Jonah Coleman-like back. And then your receivers, their receivers are good, right? Tracy is good. I'm forgetting the other guy who has really turned on. Brockington is there as well. I think it's Brockington, right? Like, good receivers. No Denzel Bostons. There's no Denzel Bostons on this team. You're at home. It's at night. I just get the sense, too, that this is going to be a game where Ryan Day actually wants to open it up and be explosive. You're at home. It's a night game. And while I do think they have guys in the back end, Coy Parrish, you have two of the best wide receivers in the country in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. You have a really good tight end room. I just think they're just gonna let Julian Sayin air it out, especially in preparation of a big game at Illinois next week. So I just don't love this matchup for Minnesota. I honestly am surprised that the spread is this low.
I do not really agree. I think that Minnesota has a better chance here than most people are going to give them credit for, and I know you're not trying to disrespect them with your score prediction or anything, but I do think Drake Lindsey has been very good this season. I do think that PJ Fleck knows how to play a close game of football. I think that although Washington did have an explosive offense and Ohio State was aware of that, I think that this Ohio State that we're seeing is the new version of Ohio State that is going to stick around, at least in the regular season. I think that Ohio State is going to continue to play ball control. They're going to continue to try to run the ball. I think that Ryan Day is frustrated that the running game is not working very much right now, and that he's going to try and get his running game right. Essentially, try to get Bo Jackson as many carries as he can. They had Bo Jackson, what was it, last week or a couple weeks ago, had 17 carries in a game. And that's not Like that's more than they pretty much had all of last season as well. So I think that Ohio State is playing a very efficient form of offense right now, and they're basically just saying, sure, you can go out there and try to play offense if you want to anybody. I'm not just saying Minnesota, but our defense is really good. They're going to stop you. We're going to try to control the ball, and we're going to continue to try to play less than 60 plays per game. And I don't think that Ryan Day is going to budge from that philosophy. He didn't budge from it against Michigan last year. He didn't budge from it against, kind of did against Oregon a little bit, but that was out of necessity because they were down. If they're ahead, as long as Minnesota doesn't get ahead in this game, I think Ryan Day is going to continue to do what he does. I would not be surprised at all if this is a 14-3, 21-3 game or something like that at halftime. I don't think Ohio State's going to cross 40 points in this game. I think, the type of stuff that you saw from Michigan a couple years ago when they were winning games by like 38-3, 31-10. I think that's what you're going to start seeing from Ohio State. And although Minnesota doesn't have Darius Taylor or AJ Turner, most likely, this is still a talented Drake Lindsey, and I think that PJ Fleck is going to try to go with him a little bit, but at the end of the day, he's going to try to play ball control as well and make sure that score doesn't get as high as you have it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I don't think all the points are going to come from offense in this game. Like, I think you're going to see some defensive scores because I think even if it's 21-3 at half, which I think is a very possible score, all of a sudden Minnesota has to try to play catch up. What happens when you try to play catch up? You put your quarterback back there and you've got to try to take risks. You put him in harm's way for sacks, for strip sacks, for interception returns. And again, this is nothing against Drake Lindsey. I think Drake Lindsey might be when it's all said and
I get what you're saying, but like, is PJ Fleck going to do the same thing that Matt Rule tried to do against Indiana last year? Right? Like that's not PJ Fleck. He's not going to try and do that.
You don't think he's going to try to? You don't think he won't try to win the game?
He'll try to win the game, but at a certain point when it's 21-3, he's not going to go out there and keep going for it on, like passing the ball on 3rd and 12 and, going for it on 4th and 3. Like, I just don't think PJ Fleck's going to do that. I think he's going to try to get out of there if they get down by a bunch. That's if this happens. I mean, we're talking like Ohio State's going to completely dominate Minnesota, and I think they will, but Minnesota's got a good team too. We picked them to win 8 games in the preseason.
And that's fair, but I think as we've seen them, I think they are not as good as we thought they were. Like, I think they're better than the public has thought, but I don't think they're as good as we thought they were. I mean, you go back to the Rutgers game at home, they can't run the ball. And so like, that's the other issue with this. It's like, you might be right in that they might try to pack it up and go home. Here's the problem. What gives us any confidence that they're going to be able to run the ball with any effect against Ohio State? They couldn't run the ball against Rutgers. Like, Rutgers defensively is not very good.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to run the ball. I have them scoring 3 points in this game.
Right. So I think there's going to be more possessions in this game because there's going to be a lot of 3 and outs.
Right, but I think if the ball is in Ohio State's hands, you're going to continue to see them kind of drain the clock, play ball control, and run the ball a lot. I mean, maybe Minnesota's rush defense is just, awful against Ohio State, but Ohio State hasn't necessarily been great running the ball, number one. And number two, Minnesota's allowing less than 3 yards per carry right now on the season. Some of that is because of Northwestern State, but still, like, they held Cal in check for a good amount of that game. Like, Rutgers ran on them, yeah, but
I think there is a real potential for this to get ugly and to get ugly quick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't think so. I think Ryan Day is going to go out there, ball control, move on to the next week, not put all that many plays up, try to play less than 60 plays in this game. I think if the ball is in Ohio State's hands more than Minnesota's hands, I think that is even more likely of a low-scoring game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, Julian Saint's only thrown 9 deep balls in the season so far. They've played 4 games. That's like 2 per game.
but at some point they are going to have to put that more in the arsenal too.
Yeah, in the playoffs, they will.
I don't think you start that in the playoffs, and that's
They
not
did
what
last
they did.
year.
No, you said it against Oregon, but you saw it. I mean, you saw it against Iowa. You saw it against a couple
In the
other
second half
teams.
when it was close, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, but also
You saw it against Nebraska when it was close. Sure, if Minnesota keeps this game close, sure, we could see that more. But if this is a 21-3 game at halftime, like you and I think it'll be, then I think Ohio State will run the ball.
I still think it's going to be pretty. I think it's going to be pretty ugly.
Okay.
Like
right.
I
I'll give your score prediction
point.
then.
I understand your point. I've got it. And again, Minnesota fans don't hate me. 52-10.
Okay. I have this one 31-3. I think that Minnesota's defense is going to, go out there, play for some pride. I think that they have a big emphasis on not allowing the big plays right now. Kerry Brown, Coy Parrish, Kerry Brown played better last game, and I think the safeties are continuing to get better and look more like what they need in this defense. And I also think Anthony Smith is a dude. Ohio State has a good offensive line, don't get me wrong, but if Julian stays back there too long, Anthony Smith's going to get to him eventually. So
Anthony Smith's really good.
Yeah, he's probably going to be a first, second round pick. He's probably going to keep the streak going for Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, we will see. Next one is Nebraska, Michigan State at Nebraska. If I am not incorrect, the line on this one may have changed. Nope, it stayed the same. On FanDuel, Nebraska is favored by 11.5. The over-under is set at 48.5 this game. A little surprising. I thought Nebraska maybe favored by a touchdown, maybe a little bit more. I was surprised when it was up at 11.5. Michigan State, they did give USC a game on the road earlier, but I think that was a little bit because of USC kind of fumbling the ball away, no pun intended, with the actual fumble that happened that allowed them to get back in the game. I think this Nebraska team is going to be pretty determined after that loss to Michigan. They went through the bye week. They're coming back. I think that they're going to be pretty determined in this Michigan State game. However, I do not think the run defense is going to be fixed yet. They are currently allowing over 6 yards per carry against FBS teams, and not good. Not good. Michigan State, a team that doesn't necessarily run the ball super well, but they do try to run the ball, and that's something that Jonathan Smith wants to get going. And so I think this is a game where Michigan State will be able to run the ball a little bit, but overall Nebraska's offense should be able to take care of business at the end of the day. Zach, your thoughts?
I have a question. Is this a must-win game for Nebraska?
Yeah.
Like, what are the implications if they lose this game to Michigan State and Jonathan Smith?
You have thoughts of a repeat of last year where you started off the season well and then you lose to one team and then you kind of spiral downward and you lose 5-6 games in a row after that?
Yeah. So, like, it's big. It's really big. And Michigan, like, they should not lose to Michigan State. No offense to Sparty. But, like, you look at, at different metrics, Nebraska should be significantly better than Michigan State,
especially at home.
Yeah, especially at home, which concerns me because I'm like, I think you just said it psychologically. They've been stewing since the Michigan loss. They're at home. It's another home sellout. Man, but the last time we saw them, their lines got just decimated on both sides of the ball. And I don't think Michigan State has the talent on the lines like Michigan does, but I'm just wondering, like, psychologically, where is Nebraska right now? Where's Matt Rule? Where's Dylan Raiola? Like, Dylan Raiola has played really well. Like, people will say otherwise, but where are they psychologically right now?
I mean, I think Matt Rule has been in these situations before. I think he's a veteran, experienced coach, and he's going to know kind of, how to coach his guys through this and get through this scenario. I do have concerns about the offensive line, but we've seen offensive lines be fixed mid-season before. Yes, I think the offensive line was an issue against Michigan, but I would almost say that was more of a game about Michigan kind of declaring they're one of the best defensive lines in the country again than Nebraska declaring that they're one of the worst in the Big Ten. Would you agree with that?
Yes, although I was still a little surprised how poor it was. But I
From
agree.
Nebraska?
Yeah, yeah. That's not to take away from Michigan. I would say it was certainly more about Michigan than it was about. I would argue it was similar to Indiana, Illinois, and that I felt like it was more about Indiana than Illinois. But there were still concerns, and there still are concerns with Illinois. I would say the same thing with Nebraska, in that I think it's more about Michigan's defensive line, but I still have question marks about Nebraska's offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I have question marks about them as well, but it's more from like a kind of prove it scenario. I'm not totally out on Nebraska's offensive line. I think Nebraska had a really good thoughts about going into the season. Pritchett hasn't been what you thought he would be, but I mean, Rocco Spindler is there. You've had veteran guys. I just talked with TJ on a recent show about that, and I think at the end of the day, like this is an offensive line that Matt Rule is looking at. Hey, you guys got to get this together. Like if this was a non-veteran coach, I might be a little bit more concerned, but kind of like Brett Bielema, like this is a veteran coach. This is somebody who's going to recognize what needs to happen and make it happen. Blue Wolverine gifted 10 Big Ten Huddle college football show memberships. We appreciate you doing that, Blue Wolverine. Definitely. Max got one. I'm sure some other people got one. Very much appreciate that. Thank you, Blue Wolverine. And then also thank you to Steely Matt for reposting the show on Twitter. Once again, always appreciate you doing that, Steely Matt. The support for the show, we really appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much.
Yep, for sure. Going back to the matchup, I'm curious about how Aiden Childs, how he does in this game. Because I think everybody is probably looking at Nebraska and can Nebraska prove themselves. Aiden Childs, I think, has really leveled up this season. And if I'm a Nebraska fan, I'm a little concerned because you should beat Michigan State. But Childs is an X factor. Omar Kelly and Nick Marsh are factors in here as wide receivers.
Christian McCray as well.
Yeah, McCray. Like they've got real guys and real dudes on offense that can threaten you.
Michigan State does have a pretty good interior of their defensive line as well. Grady Kelly in there. Their offensive line has had issues. I think the biggest disadvantage for Nebraska in this one is I think Michigan State actually has the better defensive line than Nebraska has. And if Michigan State is able to run the ball in this one, combined with Aiden Childs and his ability to move, I think that's another piece of this one. Bryce Underwood ran on Nebraska. Brendan Sorsby ran on Nebraska. Like, if Nebraska's defense is not going to be able to contain Aiden Childs, I mean, I'm not saying it'll happen, but if it's on the Nebraska's defense, they might just mess around and have Aiden Childs look like the better quarterback in this game. He shouldn't. Dylan Raiola should look like the better quarterback, but if you mess around, he could be.
Yep. Mess around, find out.
Yep. Exactly.
And I think that maybe goes to my other point is a lot of people came into this season really talking about Matt Rule, year 3 Matt Rule, excellent coach. I think we've said it on this show how much we respect Jonathan Smith, but like, let's be real. Jonathan Smith is a coach that could spring the upset here. Like, he's built lesser programs, and
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like he's built lesser programs like Oregon State. And he has not built Michigan State back. But I do think we have to remember, like, he is a really good coach who has a proven track record.
Yeah, I mean, he has to get his offensive line in the secondary right in this one, right? I mean, the Michigan State offensive line has not been great. They've had injuries this season, so it's not all on them, but it's not it's not great. And then the secondary has just been awful for Michigan State this season. Now, part of that is you face Jaden Maiava. He's going to make a lot of secondaries not look very good, so that contributes to things. But yeah, I mean, longer bean, I think it was, for Boston College. He threw all over him as well. Like, this is a game where Nebraska is susceptible to the quarterback run. Michigan State is susceptible to any type of talent at the quarterback position, which obviously Dylan Raiola has. This is one where I think this game could possibly be decided by which QB doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
and Aiden Childs is the one that struggled with that more, but it's
yeah.
not been as much this season, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. So, what's your score prediction?
So I think there's going to be a lot of yardage, but maybe not finishing a lot in the end zone. So I like Nebraska to win. I don't like them to cover. I have 27-23 Nebraska.
John says, I track both Sparty and UCLA, even with high-impact defenders returning for Go Green's D. The pedestrian Nebraska run blocking will make hay. Head coach Smith has State trending up overall. Yeah, I mean, this is the type of win that you get as Michigan State that really kind of continues that trajectory. It makes Michigan State fans continue to believe in you more, right? You have to have a win like this. We'll see if they can do it. Ultimately, I'm picking Nebraska to win this game. I think the home field advantage, I think the motivation after coming off that Michigan game is going to be too much. And I think Nebraska knows that if they lose this game, they're not spiraling, but there is a path to spiral downward. And Matt Rule will not let his program get to that point. We'll see if it happens, but I actually have Nebraska winning a one-score game here, 31-24. I just think that Michigan State secondary is a little too susceptible, and we've seen a good passing game from Nebraska. Yes, the Nebraska run defense is susceptible, but we've not exactly seen a great run game from Michigan State. So I'll go with what I know.
Yep, that's good. That's good.
Ryan Wiley says, "Does Bucky Badger get blown out?" Just joined. We'll talk. Well, let's go ahead and swap it. We'll talk Wisconsin, Michigan right now. How's that sound, Zach?
That sounds great.
We'll move Northwestern and Louisiana Monroe. How about that? Appreciate you being here, Ryan. Before we do that, I do want to remind you guys to like and subscribe. There is a new thing you can do on YouTube called Hype. You can hype up a podcast or a show I believe it's only if you are watching it recorded after it's live. So if you go on your phone and you scroll over from the live chat, or from the likes, you can hit hype, and everybody has a certain amount of points they can hype up a show with every day. I don't know exactly how much it works. I've used it on other shows, and so if you would like to use it on our show, we would greatly appreciate that. Maybe we'll get some Nebraska fans hyping us up because we picked them to win this game. Well, we will see. We will see. And tell a friend about the show as well. All right. Wisconsin at Michigan, over-under in this game set at 42.5. Michigan big favored in this one by 16.5. Michigan coming off their bye week. Bryce Underwood, Justice Haynes, Jordan Marshall looked good last week. Donovan McCauley had some plays that he almost made, and so that receiving core looks like it does have hope at times, but Channing Goodwin needs to hold on to the ball a little bit more, but huge step for the offensive line, big step for the defensive line last game as well. If you're Michigan, you feel a little bit more confident going out of the bye week. You're feeling especially confident going up against Wisconsin, who just got blown out by Maryland a couple weeks ago at home. Luke Fickell's still there. Zach, what are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, I think this is an immense advantage for Michigan, right? Like it's at Michigan. Michigan is really starting to assert themselves on both sides of the line. And I know we have our concerns in pass blocking for the offensive line. And Giovanni El Haddad is out, or might be out for this game. Is he out, or is he questionable?
I don't think I've seen. I'll double check really fast, but I've not seen them say anything.
But even without him, their run blocking has been very good. And especially with Underwood as a run threat, I just don't know how Wisconsin stops their running attack. So I think it'll be slow. I think it'll be methodical. I think they're going to bludgeon Wisconsin to a pulp because I just don't think Wisconsin's motivated. nothing out of Wisconsin has made me have any hope that they are going to be able to compete. And I hate to say that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wisconsin get a junk score at the end because that's what they've been doing, both against Alabama and against Maryland. But I think the final score I have is not going to be indicative of how this game plays out, which is I think just Michigan they just take the air out of the ball and they just kind of squeeze the life out of Wisconsin over the course of this game.
Boy, plug your ears, Wisconsin fans. Man, Zach is not loving his Wisconsin Badgers tonight. No, I do not fault you for it. I'm just giving you a hard time. I do think that Wisconsin has the best run defense statistically in the Big Ten so far this season. They're allowing only 2.11 yards per carry. They're only allowing 50 yards per game. They haven't faced any FCS opponents, so it's not like they're just getting that from a bunch of FCS teams or anything. I mean, against, I believe it was Alabama, they only allowed 72 yards on the ground. So, I mean, a lot of that was because the Alabama threw a lot through the air, but I do think that this is a very interesting matchup. I'm not going to pick the upset. I'm going to pick Michigan to win this game, but you have the possibility of Billy Edwards coming back. Is Danny O'Neal still the starter? Is Hunter, what's his name, Zimmerman, I think? I'll double check here in just a second, but is he going to play? And all three of those quarterbacks are kind of all different. Billy Edwards, more of the kind of balanced, he can run, he can throw type of guy. Danny O'Neal, pretty mobile. He's shown not to have a great arm, but at least he's better than Braden Locke in that sense, that he has more mobility. And then Hunter, he has shown himself to have a pretty good arm. We saw him in that Maryland game. He might have the best arm out of all three of them. And so what does Luke Fickell decide to do in this game? And does that impact Michigan's defense and what they try to go out and do? Does Wisconsin use multiple quarterbacks in this game? And will that be confusing for this Michigan team? This Wisconsin offensive line has not been great. However, coming off of a bye week, are they going to adjust some things, put some things together to make it better? Jeff Grimes is an experienced offensive coordinator, so I understand what you're saying, Zach. Like, there's not a whole lot of confidence right now for Wisconsin, but I do think there are other talking points in this game to the fact that this could be more of a test for Michigan than maybe we realize, because they might just have to go to the air more than they've gone to the run if Wisconsin is indeed good at stopping the run.
Yeah. Ryan Willie does say don't expect Edwards Jr. to play, which is my sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who's going to play. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Neither does Michigan.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Like, I think that this is a test. And in some ways, it's going to be a test of whether Michigan can actually do what they want to do, right? Mm-hmm. Which Michigan's not going to change who they are, especially with Sharon Moore coming back on the sidelines. They want to smash. They want to smash the rock, and I would not be surprised. So, like, I hear what you're saying. Here's what I think might happen. Is I think the first quarter and a half, it's almost scoreless. But Michigan's getting 2-3 yard chunks, then it turns into 4-yard chunks. I just think they're gonna wear Wisconsin out at some point. Because
maybe.
Well,
I'm wondering if this is the game where they unleash Bryce Underwood downfield a little bit more. He's had a little bit of trouble, not a ton. Michigan fans, I'm not trying to say anything bad about Bryce Underwood here, but if there's an area in his game currently where I think he can elevate as a passer, it's passing the ball downfield, and Wisconsin has been very susceptible to that so far this year. While I agree they do want to smash and they do want to get to the run game, I also think that they recognize the potential here for some play action pass and possibly getting the ball down the field more to Donovan McCauley, Channing Goodwin, somebody like that, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and I think so. Here's again, why is running the rock so valuable to open up the play action pass game? So I think what you could see is that it's very low scoring. You get a couple of play action passes, and that opens up the run game.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I'm picking Michigan to win this game. Like I said, I'm just curious how it's going to play out. I'm not really thinking Wisconsin's going to win. I mean, there's obviously a chance it could happen here, but it's at Michigan. Wisconsin just lost to Maryland. Maybe Maryland is a much better team than we realize, and that loss won't look as bad. But I do think Michigan's going to win this game. It could come down to like a 10-point game. This could also end up being like a 30-point game. It just kind of depends on what Michigan does and if it works for them. If Michigan just decides to smash the rock the entire time and Wisconsin's defense bows up, you could look at a 14-point win in this one. If Michigan decides to throw the ball down the field, open up the play action, you're looking at a 20, 30-point win in this one. So overall, I have the game here going 31-13. Michigan wins. That tells you kind of the way I think this game is going to go. I think they're going to open up for Bryce Underwood a little bit more. They're going to lock him downfield, and you're going to see a lot of hype for Bryce Underwood after this week about how good of a downfield passer, not like one of the best in the nation, but that he's improved in that area, and people will start to recognize that.
Yeah. I have a similar score. I actually shifted it by a point, 27-13. I do think they will have to settle for field goals a couple times in this game. But my game flow, the way I see the game flowing is I think it's 27-6. And then late in the fourth quarter, there's some sort of score. Maybe Jaden Ballard, who's been kind of their deep threat, gets a late score to make it look more respectable, backdoor cover. But I don't think Wisconsin, I'll be honest, I don't think Wisconsin has much of a shot in this game.
Okay. Well, we will see what happens. I have a feeling like Wisconsin is going to win a game at some point this season. But at the same time, I also thought they were going to go 6-6. So I might just have too much hope for Wisconsin. We'll see what happens. Next game we'll talk about here, Zach, and we can be quick on this one. Louisiana Monroe at Northwestern. I don't think there's a whole lot more to say on this one other than this is a home game against a group of 5 team. The spread should not be barely double digits on FanDuel. Northwestern's favored by 10.5. The over-under is set at 40. If Northwestern is a Big Ten team, they should beat UL Monroe by 2 or scores or more at the very least in this one. What are your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, I have 24-10 in this. I mean, I think I think they're running the ball better. We saw that against UCLA. And I just think that running game is going to be able to carry against a team that has been a decent group of 5 team, but by decent, they've beaten St. Francis, UTEP, and Arkansas State. And with UTEP and Arkansas State, it's been by 6 points and 12 points. They lost 73-0 against Alabama. Like, they're not good. And so,
but to be fair, that was Alabama opening it up and throwing it downfield a lot more. Am I correct? Right? Like, that was the game when Ty Simpson really started to throw a whole lot more. Preston Stone might do that, but they've not really thrown it with him all that much, and I don't know if that's going to start happening in this game.
Sure. No, but I do think they have the ability to run on ULM, and I just don't think Northwestern is going to give up much defensively.
Yeah. I hope they don't. We'll see. I have Northwestern winning this one 28-17. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
I mean, just to give you some insight here, like most of UL Monroe's offense has come via the run. So like Braylon McReynolds has been like their bell cow back. And like he's done really well. Their passing game has not been good. Like
so same as Northwestern's.
Right. But Northwestern actually has Big Ten talent. So like I just don't think they're going to be able to run on UL Monroe. And I think Northwestern's going to be able to run.
I would say they have Big Ten talent on defense. I don't know about that offense.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
I don't think Preston Stone is Big Ten caliber level quarterback. I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks that are in this conference: Julian Sayin, Jada Mayava, Damon Williams Jr., Dylan Raiola, Aiden Childs. Like those are Big Ten caliber quarterbacks. Yeah. So
Preston Stone would have been a good quarterback in the Big Ten in like 2007.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would have been like, yes. Please keep throwing for 115 yards a game while we run the ball.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
He would have made a really good Iowa quarterback until this year.
Oh, Zach. We're not even talking Iowa this time. Come on. All right, I'm just kidding with you. Okay, well, let's move on to the next game. Before we do that, I do want to let you know we are going to premiere a new episode on Thursday morning called Around the Big Ten. I'm going to bring on different podcasters and fans from different Big Ten teams, and we are going to have them answer questions about the Big Ten. They are only allowed to be a homer once on those questions, and they have to answer about other teams. So who impresses Wisconsin fans? Who impresses Michigan fans, whatever it might be? What are your thoughts? And you guys can share them in the comments as well. We're going to record it at first just to see how it goes, but it might be something that we bring live on Wednesday nights at some point. But you can see that premiering on Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Come in, join us, and be there for Around the Big Ten. We'll have two or three different guests from around the Big Ten talking Big Ten content. All right, Zach, let's get to our next one here. To me, this is the game of the week. Washington at Maryland. Washington on FanDuel is favored by 6.5 on this one. The over-under is set at 52.5. More people on Maryland than they are on Washington in this one. More, I think last time I checked, it was about 60% of the spread bets are in favor of Maryland. So people liking Maryland coming off the Wisconsin win. They went through a bye week. Mike Locksley was talking about how he has adjusted the way he does his bye weeks. They used to be super physical and all about development and get better, and now a little bit more relaxed this bye week. Going into this game week now, they're kind of going into a normal game week. They're letting the guys get rested, and we'll see how that goes for them. However, Mike Locksley, 0-9. The last 9 bye weeks, coming off the bye week, he is 0-9. So definitely needs to adjust something there. We'll see if he gets to 0-10 or if Maryland can pull the upset at home over Washington in this one. A lot of talking points with Washington not winning a road game last year. They went to Rutgers. They struggled to kick. I believe that game was 21-18, and Washington just could never really get over the hump and win that game. Zach, do you see this game being a game? You think Washington's going to come out with a vengeance? What are your thoughts?
So this game actually, my score does not reflect how scared I am about this game, because I think Maryland's got a great shot to win. You've got it in our show notes. Like, Stewart leads the Big Ten in quarterback pressures. That defensive line, those young defenders are legit. Like, as much as we talk about Malik Washington, those two defenders might be more of the impact freshmen than Malik Washington is. And that's saying something, because I think Malik Washington has been, like, we talk a lot about Bryce Underwood. He may be just as impactful, if not more so, as a freshman quarterback. Like,
ESPN ranked him like the number 1 freshman in the nation this week.
Yeah. So, like, I'm really excited about this Maryland team, which I know shocks people because everybody knows me as the Fire Locksley guy. Not this year. I don't feel that way this year.
You're switching it up. Fire Kirk Ferentz now.
No, retirement.
Okay, sorry.
But no, Fire Fickle.
I need to listen to the Fire Coaches podcast more. Sorry.
Yeah, Fire Fickle. That's the one. Hence why I have no hope for them against Michigan. But this is the other thing. If this were neutral field, Washington should win. But it's not neutral field. Jedd Fisch has struggled. I think Jedd Fisch has struggled as offensive coordinator, like calling plays while also being head coach. They're going across the country to the East Coast. Remember last year they went to Rutgers against a team that they should have beat, and Rutgers beat them, right? So there's a lot of things about this game where you're like, I really don't love it. It makes sense why everybody's picking Maryland.
Well, and I don't love it either, because you're most likely not going to have Carver Willis, the starting left tackle for this team, and Sidney Stewart leads the Big Ten in pressures right now. My gosh, Sidney Stewart. I'm going to be honest. I like Malik Washington. Don't get me wrong. I like Sidney Stewart better. Holy cow, he is such a dude, and he is great on that defensive line. Gets after the quarterback so well. He just has a knack for being able to get to the quarterback as well. They will obviously sometimes get the ball away before he gets to the quarterback to sack him, but man, he does a great job of getting to the quarterback. But I mean, I think a lot of people are going to talk about Malik Washington and everything for this for this Maryland team, but I'm looking at this defense a lot with Carver Willis out. The run defense lately, they've held teams under 3 yards per carry. I think Jonah Coleman is actually the biggest X factor for Washington in this game, with the offensive line not looking as good. With Carver Willis most likely being out, they might have to move John Mills, the starting guard, who's a true freshman, out to left tackle. We'll see how that's going to work. Yep. But true freshman John Mills on true freshman Sidney Stewart, that's going to be a really cool matchup. On the offensive end for Maryland, you have Zach Durfee on the Washington side. He's out, so you're getting some less pressure there. They have some guys behind him. I think Washington does have a deep defensive line, but I don't think they have the same kind of playmaker like you do Zach Durfee. If you lost somebody else on that defensive line, I think you would have been maybe set up to be able to withstand that, but not losing Zach Durfee. And Jed Fish did not sound super confident that he was going to come back. And then you also have the linebacker Manu. He's going to be out. Takario Davis, Jed Fish said he's hopeful he comes back, but I mean, this is not looking like a good situation for Washington on the road. All the injuries. EA just mentioned Daniel Wingate. He's fantastic. Jalen Huskies had a great year. I'm more confident in Maryland getting this win because of the defense than I am about Malik Washington. And that's not me being down on Malik Washington. That's me saying this defense is really freaking good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good defense, and that gives Malik Washington more time to develop, which I think is, like, you look at how Maryland has been the first few weeks. Like, the offense has had good moments, but the reason why they can kind of wait to develop the offense, it's actually, in a lot of ways, it's similar to Ohio State, right? Their defense has done great. Against FAU, only 7 points allowed. Against Northern Illinois, who offensively they struggled, but they only allowed 9 points. Against Wisconsin, they only allowed 10. Against Towson, who I'm sure, Towson, who cares, but 17. Like, so the most points they've allowed is 17 points at this point. Here's my counterpoint, though. This is easily the best offense they have played, and it's not close. And you said the X factor is Jonah Coleman. Mm-hmm. I will go not one better, but I will go a 1B to your 1A, and it's Damon Williams. I think people are going to look at what Ohio State's defense did to Damon Williams and say, oh, he's actually not all that. No, it's just Arvell Reese is insane. And Matt Patricia's defense was uniquely designed to contain and spy all game long. And my big question philosophically is, can Mike Loxley and his defensive coordinator, can they engineer a defense to contain a quarterback as dynamic and explosive as Damon Williams?
Ted Monachino is your man for the job, Zach. He's going to get it done. He's gonna contain Damon Williams. He's gonna stop Jonah Coleman. And I got a reckless, possibly. What was the other word I used? I was on a roll there.
Reckless and irresponsible.
I have a reckless and irresponsible pick. Not really, because Maryland really could win this game.
I don't think it's irresponsible.
It's really, really good. But I think Maryland's going to win this game 27-4. I think Maryland's going to get it at home.
Hey,
I think
27-4
or 27-24. Sorry. Two safeties. Let's see how that goes. 27-24. I think Washington could struggle on the road again. I think the biggest thing for Maryland, number one, is stop Jonah Coleman, and then number two is third down. They have got to be better on third down because they've not been able to run the ball. They've not done a great job of converting those third downs. If they can convert those third downs in this game, I'm not necessarily saying they have to run the ball for 100 yards, but if they can open it up a little bit more, get some better movement on first down, get themselves in more third and manageable situations, I think this Maryland team can get the win. But that's the thing, right? Can Washington's defense step up and not let that happen? Other teams have scored on Washington's defense. I know Ohio State only scored 24, but you had the fumble punt. They did have a goal line stand, so you give them credit there, but Ohio State did move the ball. I think it was 45 yards on that opening drive, so it's going to be really interesting here how it plays out. But this is one of the best games we'll see all week, I think, and it's kind of under the radar.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a really fun game. I'm gonna go against the grain with you on this. David Greenshield made a good point here that Williams made some very high level throws against OSU, and Ohio
Oh
State's
yeah,
back
Williams was
seven
good.
is the
Yeah.
best uh, back seven in the country. Damon is the X factor. To me, Damon Williams, like if you look at the defense for Maryland, Todd Montecchino's done a great job. This is the first time that they are going to have to play disciplined, contained football, and you're asking freshmen to play contain. I don't think that's going to be a recipe for success. I think they're going to be aggressive. I think they're going to overrun some plays, and I think Damon Williams is going to sting them both in the run and the pass game, both in running for first downs, but also escaping and then finding Denzel Boston. I believe it's Prysock. That's the corner. I'm trying to remember his other Amari Evans, the freshman receivers. I think Damon Williams is going to be able to do business on this defense. And that is not to say that I think Maryland's defense is bad. I just think, again, it's about matchups. I think even with the matchup of a freshman left tackle against Sidney Stewart, against other quarterbacks, I'd be like, yes, that is a terrible matchup. Against a guy as elusive as Damon Williams, I think that actually could benefit Washington in the fact that you're getting an aggressive edge rusher to then overrun plays. So I just think that Washington's going to have a couple of counter punches here because of Damon Williams and because of the explosiveness on the outside. I like Washington 34-21.
All right. We'll see if Maryland's defense is up to the task. I do think Maryland has some better interior defensive linemen than some people give them credit for. And then, like I said, Husky, Lakai Rowland has been a good corner for them as well this season. We'll see if they put him on Denzel Boston or how that works out. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a fun game. Yeah. And I think we're in for a really, really good one here. All right. Let's move on to, before we do that, I do want to remind you, on Friday morning, we do have another show for you. It is going to be a premiere of me with College Football with Sam. Love College Football with Sam. He does a great job. I've been appearing on some of his Wednesday night live streams to talk through the games of the week and everything. He does a great job. His guests do a great job. If you have not listened to College Football with Sam, I'm sure you have. His channel is much bigger than ours, and rightfully so. He does a great job. Not that we don't, but he's been around longer and has done a great job ever since the beginning. So, yes, check us out Friday morning. Me and College Football with Sam will premiere at 9 a.m. All right, Zach, let's get to Illinois at Purdue on FanDuel. Illinois' favorite in this one by 9.5. Purdue, the over-under is 57.5. Purdue has done a pretty good job of scoring points so far this year and being able to move the ball on teams. They moved the ball and scored points on Notre Dame. They moved the ball on USC. Didn't really finish. They turned it over 3 times in the red zone, but they were able to get to the red zone against USC. Their weakness, they give up a lot of points. They gave up 33 to USC, which was not the most. That was only a point more than what Illinois gave up to them. However, 56 to Notre Dame. They gave up more than you would have liked to see against Southern Illinois. So that defense for Purdue definitely needs to improve, but overall the offense could keep them in this game. And of course, as everybody likes to point out, last year, 50-49. It was a one-score game after Ryan Brown came in and led the comeback against Illinois. Can Ryan Brown do it again, and will he finish it off this time, Zach?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. I was like trying to think of something creative there. I was like, I just don't have it. Man, if this were Ross-Ade at night, I might go for the upset.
I mean, it's still Ross-Ade.
But it's Ross-Ade in the afternoon. It's not the same.
Yeah, but the noon is the new 7:30 p.m., Zach. Haven't you been listening to Joel Klatt on Twitter?
Listen, Joel Klatt is great. He's dead wrong about that.
Okay.
Dead wrong. Although, as an adult with small children, I kind of like noon games if I'm just being honest. But
As long as my kids nap for the entire noon game, I'm good. But if
there
they
you
don't
go.
nap for it all, it's like, this was risky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Talk about the game.
Anyway, well, I think Purdue again, like I think Purdue is really good or has improved. I shouldn't say really good. I think they've improved. But your point about giving up lots of points, and then also Illinois has most of their defensive backs back, right? Matthew Bailey is probable to return. Xavier Scott, I think, is the only one that's going to be out because of the ankle surgery. And so I think we saw them shore up quite a bit against USC. They still gave up points against USC, but that offense is a lot better than Purdue's offense. And I think Illinois really is going to want to build off the momentum from their win against USC, especially with Ohio State coming to town next week. So I just think they're going to be locked in. Again, I believe in Brett Bielema, even on the road. And I just think Purdue is continuing to, they're going to continue to have some growing pains, right? Like Ryan Brown's been good. They have decent playmakers, but I think they're going to turn the ball over in this game. And I think it's going to limit their opportunities to score. I actually have it a little lower scoring. I have 31-17 Illinois.
I'm interested to see how Illinois comes out in this one. If they're, they have Ohio State next week, are they going to be looking ahead at all? They just come off the big emotional win over USC that kind of keeps like their playoff hopes alive and stuff. And this game, I don't think they're going to look ahead. I don't think it's going to be a trap game because of the way the game against Purdue went last year. However, I mean, if Illinois is not careful, Ryan Brown could kind of run all over them again, right? And they do have some injuries in the secondary that have held them back a little bit. Matthew Bailey left that game early. Sounds like he is going to be back, so not as concerned about that. Hinkle, he left the game on that last play that USC had where I think he hurt his wrist, and so that could be another one in the secondary that maybe doesn't play. He was already the Xavier Scott backup, so what do they do there? Jaheim Clark coming back is huge for Illinois, don't get me wrong, but the other compounding injuries and everything, how's it going to look for the secondary? Because this is a Purdue team that is not afraid to throw the ball, and Nitro Tuggle has his moments where he does look like a very good wide receiver. Not always, but he looks like a pretty good wide receiver at times. He had a diving catch against, who was it against? I forget who it was against, but he had a diving catch in one of the last two games that was just really, really good, really effective, obviously, and fun to see. So this is a Purdue team that's more fun to watch this season. They are more competent, obviously, and if the defense can put together any semblance of stops, CJ Nunnally, Jamarian Harkless, those type of dudes, Slusher, if they can put together a few stops, this is a Purdue team that could make this a game, and Illinois could find themselves in a game in the fourth quarter. I don't think it'll happen at the end of the day. I think this Illinois team's going to be too locked in. I think they found something with the way they worked that offensive line this last game, and I think Luke Altmaier is starting to look like one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten, and he's going to continue to do so in this one. I have Illinois winning this game 38 to I lost my score prediction. 38-24. Taking the over. Illinois covers, but I would not be surprised at all if this is a close game. And if Illinois makes some turnover mistakes, fumbles the ball again like they did last week, you could be looking at a really close game here at the end of the day.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you just mentioned it. I think Luke Altmaier, he's playing lights out this season. And I know Indiana game notwithstanding, where he really didn't have a chance, I feel like he is playing himself into higher draft consideration the way he's playing. He has been very good. I think it's probably why I'm not too concerned about an upset. Like an upset can happen here. Like I don't think it's as like
no, it's not. It's not crazy talk to talk about an upset. It's a 9.5 spread.
Yeah, but I think Luke Altmaier at the end of the day is the reason why they win this game.
As long as they run Luke Altmaier too, I think that's a big factor in this game.
Yeah.
They need to run Luke Altmaier because he seems to kind of be at his best and be most engaged in the game and being able to process the game faster when he's actually running sometimes than when he's not. So, yeah. All right, this is the last game here. Penn State at UCLA. Penn State favored in this one on FanDuel by 25.5. The over/under set at 50.5. This is not going to be a game that should not be a game. However, the response from Penn State is going to be very interesting in this one. Penn State just coming off that loss to Oregon where the offense did not look good for 3 quarters. They eventually turned it on, got to overtime in the second or in the fourth quarter there, but in the second overtime, Drew Aller throws the interception. I feel like this is Penn State's opportunity to do what Ohio State did last year after they lost and say, we're turning this around. We're going to get more aggressive, albeit it was on defense rather than offense, but we're going to get more aggressive. We're going to throw the ball down the field, and Drew Aller is going to be set up well for the big games, so that way he's not playing super conservative rather than, we'll just get through this UCLA game here. I think this is a game where you could see Penn State open it up, kind of go crazy a little bit, throwing to their guys downfield, maybe be a little reckless with it. Honestly, that's what I hope to see. If I don't see that, I'm very concerned about Penn State moving forward.
You love the word reckless tonight.
I do. I'm feeling very reckless. Yeah.
I don't think. I think JR being reckless is very different than other people being reckless. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, that's
Max Ellis just threw a comment out there. No head coach, no offensive coordinator, no defensive coordinator at UCLA. Sounds like the tight ends coach will be play calling.
Yeah, did they say where Tino Sinceri is going? I didn't see that. I saw that he was leaving.
We just know he's leaving LA.
Yeah.
Because that's where UCLA is. They're in LA.
Yeah. In case you didn't know.
Yeah. So, man, I feel like I'm a Debbie Downer. This is going to be a win for Penn State. I don't think that's in question.
No, it's not. The in question is how they respond and how do they look, right?
And I'll be honest, there is nothing in the past 9 years of James Franklin being the head coach, nor in the past 2.5 years of Drew Aller being quarterback, that makes me have confidence that they are going to turn it on all of a sudden. And then if I can go one step further, Ohio State lost to Oregon last year, and then they were on a bye. And so, there's a little bit of revisionist history here because a lot of people saw that win or that loss, and that's
great
funny.
Comment by Sonny, by the way.
That's great, Sonny.
If you're listening on podcast, he said, "Come for the Big Ten football previews, stay for the geography lessons."
Listen,
yes.
I have one job. It's to be cheeky and to remind people that UCLA is in LA. Anyway,
yes.
There's a little revisionist history, and this is not aimed at you, JR. It's more just as you think about Ohio State's schedule last year. They lost to Oregon. They went on a bye, and then they almost lost to 6-6 Nebraska. And
sure, but that was because of the offense, though, not the defense.
Yes. But my point is, I'm not so sure that even if there is a turnaround, I'm not so sure it's sudden. And again, Penn State's going to LA. They have to cross the time zone. I just think they're going to be sluggish. If I'm just being totally honest, I think they were sluggish a year ago against UCLA. I think they're going to be sluggish again.
So what gave you hope that Illinois would not look sluggish after they lost 53-0 and that Penn State will look sluggish after losing to the number 2 team in the nation by a touchdown in double overtime?
Bert.
Okay. So you think Bert Bielema is that much better of a coach than James Franklin?
Well, Bert and Luke Altmaier.
Okay.
And also there's a difference between how Indiana won that game versus Oregon. And remember, Indiana was at home. They're super efficient. And so if you have an off night against Indiana, that's just what they do to you, right?
Okay.
Whereas, like I think Penn State. Thank you,
Sorry,
Penn
go
State
ahead.
guy. Thank you. Proving my point.
Yes.
Everyone's a better coach than Franklin. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but
I understand the sentiment at this
hyperbole.
point in time. Yes.
Hyperbole. I appreciate that for my point. I, but I also think like Oregon was not trying to be as efficient offensively. They were trying to attack downfield. Like they had a more not pro style offense, but a more explosive attack that they were trying to put together. It wasn't always effective because Penn State defensively is very good, but it didn't lend to the same issues that Indiana would give you. And then I just think I have not seen it from Penn State, especially without Tyler Warren. So that's where I'm like, it's about some of it's just about feel. Maybe this is wrong, but I don't sense that Penn State knows how to get it together, especially under Kotelnicki with Drew Aller as their quarterback.
I don't know. I just don't think they're just gonna fall in and lose that easily, right? Like I get everybody's down on Penn State, and I'm down on them too. Like I don't feel great about Penn State, but some of the stuff that's being said about them right now in the national media and some of the local podcasts and some of what you're saying right now too, with it being like they're never gonna change, they're never gonna do anything. Like if they are ever going to change, it's right now. Right? Like, this is the point right now. I'm not necessarily saying they will, and I'm 100% confident they will, but if they're going to, it's right now. This is the time. So I'm going to predict that Penn State does change. I don't know if they will or not. You could be right. I'm kind of 50-50 on it all. But if there was ever a time that it has to happen, it's right now. You are facing the worst team in the Big Ten. You're going on the road. You don't have to worry about getting booed in your own stadium or anything. Go out there, take some shots, throw the ball down the field, and you know what? If it's 3-0 and UCLA's winning at halftime, just run the ball with Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen in the second half, and you'll win 17-10. I mean, it's obviously not good, but still, like this is a game where Penn State needs to come out firing in the first half. And if James Franklin doesn't do that, he should be fired on the spot after this game because he has obvious issues with this team and not being able to fire the ball down the field, not making his quarterback confident. And if you can't do that against freaking UCLA, you can't do it against anybody.
Yeah. But to your point, though, the time to change was before the whiteout.
I mean, maybe, right? Like, you trusted your defense. Like, you should not have been where you were at. There should have been more change. I'm with you there. But I don't know if you necessarily go into that game like, we got to throw the ball all over the field. And they did end up throwing the ball down the field in the fourth quarter, right? So they can do it. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking back to Ohio State a lot last year. And maybe that's wrong, but even like James Franklin said, Jim Knowles is going to get up in front of the team this week and tell them this is what we did at Ohio State after our first loss. If you want to win a national championship, do this.
Yeah, so this is where and this is what's different, I think, between Michigan to Ohio State to Penn State is Ohio State didn't copy. Like they didn't copy and paste Michigan's model, right? Now they copied some. In
some ways they did. Yeah, they went to less tempo. They huddled and they worked through some, lower play volume and stuff like that. Not against Oregon, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but like their identity was still, we're going to have explosive athletes on the outside. We're going to air the ball, particularly in the playoff. Like they knew who they were by the end of the season. I'm not sure Penn State, it almost feels like Penn State is trying to just do what Ohio State did. And like, I get the whole Jim Knowles thing. Jim Knowles doesn't have Caleb Downs. Like Jim Knowles doesn't, like, he's got good players. I'm not saying that he doesn't have good players, but I think Jim Knowles is a very good defensive coordinator. I don't think he's it. Like I think
I mean, he won a national championship.
He won a national championship. He's a piece, but I'm talking about the package. Like, I don't really care if Jim Knowles goes up and talks about this is how we did it last time. Is he bringing Chip Kelly and Ryan Day through that door? No,
but who needs to have the mentality change the most on this team? Drew Aller or James Franklin?
Yes,
I would say Drew Aller.
I think it's both.
Well, I think James Franklin is willing to be a bit more aggressive on offense. I mean, he's shown that in his career before, right? Like, he's willing to do that. It's not his first thing he does, but he's more willing to do that. The the issue here is that Drew Aller in these big games is not. I mean, we said it from the beginning. I know James Franklin's getting a lot of crap right now, and deservedly so. He doesn't win top 10 games. But in as much as talk there is about, like, Drew Aller doesn't fit the offense, and you've pointed that out, and I think that's a good point, at the same time, Drew Aller just needs some confidence. He needs some confidence. He needs to throw the ball down the field. What better time to do it against UCLA? I guess that's my entire point, is, like, what better time to do it against UCLA?
And I don't disagree with you. I'm not sure I buy it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 50-50. I'm not sure I buy it either, but I'm going to lean on what should happen. When I'm 50-50, I'm going to lean on what should happen. Yeah. And we'll see. My prediction is 45-10.
Yeah.
That Penn State wins this game 45-10. Nico gets, something happen in the second half and they score a couple times. Maybe. We'll see. But if the score is what you predict, Penn State's not winning a national championship.
No. Well, and right now I don't have them making the playoff. I've got 31-6, which would be a UCLA cover by a half a point. I think they're going to be sluggish. I think he will throw downfield at times, but and Penn State guy makes a good point. The first three games they tried to force the ball downfield and it didn't look right and it was a struggle.
Well, that's because Drew Aller had no confidence. He didn't want to throw the ball down the field.
But and I think that this is my thought is I'm not sure he's ever felt confident outside of Tyler Warren throwing the ball downfield. Now he's got better receivers and it still doesn't look good.
I don't know. I just think you're back up against the wall. This is the point when it shows who you are the most. If Drew Aller is ever going to be a successful quarterback at the NFL, college football, whatever, it's at this point in time that he puts behind him whatever he has had in front of him these last few years, this year, everything, and he says, screw it, I'm going to go unleash and just go crazy because at this point, who cares?
I hope you're right. I honestly hope you're right because I picked Penn State to win the national championship preseason. And I honestly would, as much as I'm a Buckeye fan, I actually would love to see Penn State win. And yeah,
I mean, Drew Aller just has to be a difference maker. With Tyler Warren, he could be a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Without Tyler Warren, he needs to be the engine that makes this team go. If he's not, they don't win a national championship.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But
yeah. Well, those three games at Iowa, at Ohio State, Indiana. They're all talking about Indiana in the chat right now. I think Indiana wins that game.
Yep. I agree.
I think Ohio State wins. Boy, Iowa might win.
No. Maybe.
At Iowa.
Maybe.
That Iowa offensive line and defensive line are just as good as Oregon's.
That would be sad. Could you, man, is there a world where Penn State actually goes 7-5?
No, that doesn't happen. Who else do they lose to? They're not losing to
Nebraska?
No, they're not losing to Nebraska.
Oh man.
I mean, if they lose to Iowa, Ohio State, and Indiana, maybe. If they lose to all three of those, maybe, the season is just crap and they all quit. I don't think that happens. So I guess there's a possibility, but no, I don't think Nebraska wins that game.
Yeah, I mean,
Not with the defensive line that Penn State has, not with the run stopping ability that they have, not with the offensive line. Even with the offensive line not playing great for Penn State, it's still way better than the Nebraska defensive line.
Yeah. I'm not saying absolutely. And just to be clear, Max, because this is a good point. It was double overtime to Oregon, and people are talking about it like it was a disaster. It's not a disaster, but I think if you look at their first 4 weeks and the trends, that's the concern.
Yeah, it's the entire story of Drew Aller and James Franklin.
Yeah.
It's not a disaster that they lost in double overtime to Oregon. You make a good point, Max. It's a disaster because James Franklin hasn't been able to win top 10 games. Drew Aller hasn't been able to be a confident enough quarterback, and when he has been confident, he's telegraphed his passes, i.e. Oregon last year, i.e. Notre Dame last year, right? Even the year before that, there were times when he did that. So, he didn't throw interceptions 2 years ago, but that's because he wasn't throwing the ball down the field at all. He needs to find the happy medium of, I'm not just going to chuck it downfield and hope for the best and telegraph my throws, but I am going to be somebody that is willing to throw it downfield and trust my guys when I see favorable coverage or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So yes, Max, you're right. It's that game should not make everybody think that Penn State's not going to win at all.
Yep.
But if Penn State comes out against UCLA and they looked like they looked against Florida International,
yep.
I don't have a whole lot of hope.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, should we trash on some SEC teams now? I'm done trashing on Big Ten teams.
Yes, we should.
All right. Let's end the show here trashing on the SEC and give our SEC upset picks. Zach, why don't you give your SEC upset pick first?
Yeah. So it is a tough slate, and I thought of a couple that would make sense that I think you're going to go with, which I think is great. I'm taking a risk on this one because in general, Kentucky is not trustworthy. They lost 35-13 against South Carolina, but they did take Ole Miss to the limit. Like they only lost by 7 to Ole Miss. They are going to Georgia, but Georgia is reeling. Gunnar Stockton has been meh. Their running game has been meh. And their defense has been meh. And Kentucky has a pretty good run game. McGowan at running back, 68 carries for 387 yards. So it is a long shot. It is a severe long shot. But give me Kentucky over Georgia.
That would make my life if that happened. I would be ecstatic if that happens. Georgia does not have a good defense this season by their standards. It's still a good defense in college football, but by their standards, it's not a good defense this year. Gunnar Stockton, he's pretty efficient, does a good job from play to play, but he does not throw the ball downfield at all. You still don't have great wide receivers on this team. They can run the ball well, but if Kentucky is able to stop the run with any type of success, then you could possibly make this a game here. We'll see what happens. Max, don't you dare take my pick. That's okay. You can have it. I think Texas gets exposed this weekend against Florida. I don't know if Florida wins, but I think this will be a closer game than some people anticipate. I do think that Florida obviously has a whole lot of offensive issues right now, and I was never on the boat of DJ Lagway as one of the best players in college football coming into the year. I think he's injured right now. I think Billy Napier is not a very good play caller, and I think that this Florida team is kind of spiraling at this point, and they're only keeping Billy Napier around so that way DJ Lagway sticks around. But at this point, DJ Lagway is not good enough to make up for the issues that Billy Napier has. So I'm not going to go with Florida over Texas, although I think it is a possibility. I'm going to go with another one. Zach, I've got Mississippi State over Texas A&M. They're on the road. I do wish Mississippi State was at home. If I would feel much better about this one. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like Florida could beat Texas, because they're at home. But man, I think this could be a really, really fun one if Mississippi State upsets Texas A&M here. The people are with me. They think that the majority of people are putting their money on Mississippi State to cover the spread here in this one, and 70% of bets are being placed on Mississippi State. So we will see what happens, but this is going to be a good possibility. We'll see if it happens.
Those are so the two that you mentioned, Texas, Florida, and Mississippi State, Texas A&M. I'm like, I think those are good ones. Brett Beaver is he's going on the limb. Alabama losing to Vandy this weekend. Vandy will move into the top 10. That's bold.
I mean, we both have Vandy ranked over Alabama, don't we?
Yeah. I am curious.
It's surprising to me that Alabama is a 10-point favorite on FanDuel. That's surprising to me. Sorry, go ahead.
They are the home team, and they just beat Georgia, and Georgia's overvalued. So I can see why. I mean, you look at the talent profile, you look at the power ratings, but yeah, honestly, I would argue that every game outside of Kent State, Oklahoma, there is a decent shot of an upset. Like this could actually be a hilariously glorious week in covering SEC upsets.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen if Mississippi State upsets Texas A&M? Top 15 team, they're so good. You know, put Texas A&M 15th and Mississippi State 14th. They didn't do that with Virginia and Florida State, but you know they're going to do that with the SEC if that happens. If Florida beats Texas, Florida, they're going to go 8-4 this year. They should be in the playoffs if they're 8-4. Okay.
I will say this about Mississippi State. They beat Arizona State at home, but they beat Arizona State. They actually played a real opponent out of conference, and they won. So, like, if Mississippi State got ranked, I would not be sad about that.
No, I wouldn't either. I had them ranked at one point.
Yeah,
I had them ranked in my top 25 at one point.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, they've really improved from a year ago. I mean, they were terrible last year.
I just don't think Alabama loses, man. I think they look too unstoppable at this point. They did not score in the second half of that Georgia game, but they just look like they're on a mission. Even if they fall apart in the second half, I feel like they're still gonna. I mean, they shouldn't lose, right? Like, Vanderbilt should not have anywhere close to the line of scrimmage that Alabama has. You're taking over for Nick Saban. You're in year 2. You did not lose all of the talent that Nick Saban had. And even with Nick Saban being depleted because of NIL and stuff, he still had a whole heck of a lot of talent on that team.
Yep. Yeah. I agree with you. I had thought about it briefly, but I was like, I think Alabama wins, but again, I would not be surprised by anybody losing this week, except for Kent State, Oklahoma.
Yeah. We will see. Helly Dog is here. He says, every 10 years or so, my lowly Gophers pull one off. Glenn Mason last time in Columbus. I'm not feeling it, but you never know. Turnovers and ball possession are the only hope. I mean, I do think that Ohio State plays a style of football right now that does make them more susceptible to the upset. We didn't really talk about that. So if my prediction is correct in the way that they play, the possibility is there. But I don't know. This defense with Matt Patricia has just been so good. It's hard to see Minnesota score enough points. I mean, ever since that Oregon game, nobody scored more than 23 points on Ohio State. And I have to think that Ohio State scores more than 20 points.
I don't think it's a terrible matchup for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like they don't have the offensive personnel. I can't get over what they did to Washington. Like I really can't. And I just don't know where you get your points from. That's where I keep like to your
Yeah,
point.
that's the hardest thing for me. Minnesota's defense could get some turnovers, and Minnesota could play ball control, but I think you have to run the ball better to do that.
Yeah.
And if you only
And
ran for, what was it, 18 carries for 35 yards overall against Rutgers,
yeah, that it's not. Yeah. I don't love that. Like, I don't love the matchup for Minnesota.
yeah, we'll see. I will eat my words
Yeah.
if it happens.
Any given Saturday, but
That's
from
true.
a matchup perspective, I don't think it. Illinois, there's more concern with Illinois, but
Is that your most
for
likely
sure.
upset this week, Illinois?
Oh, I meant Illinois, Ohio State next week.
Oh, I was talking this week.
But this week,
in the Big
no.
Ten, what's your most likely upset?
I mean, I picked Washington to win, but I think it's probably Maryland.
Yeah. Michigan State's got to be up there too, right?
Yeah, I think I mean, I raised the question. I have real concerns about Nebraska. So
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting week, and we appreciate all of you for being here talking about it with us all. We cross our fingers that our SEC upsets come true, and we cross our fingers that all of our predictions come right. I'm sure some people will disagree. We'll see. Zach and I were pretty on par with our predictions, other than Maryland and Washington, and then Penn State, just what they do in this game, how that's going to work out. So
we had a pretty healthy debate about Ohio State scoring.
that's true. We did too. We did that too. So we'll see. We'll see who's right this week. Zach is leading. Zach has been far more right than I've been this season. He has 62 points through week 5, and I only have 50 points. And so, Zach's been the more right one. Probably lean his way.
It just means it's going to equal out by the end of the season. So I'm going to be more wrong.
Maybe. I mean, you took a big lead when they were like 18 games a week. Now there's only like 6 or 7. So I don't have nearly as good of a shot as I once had, unless you just get them all wrong this week.
Yeah. Well, and we have some, particularly over-unders. We have some error spreads. I think
Yeah. A little bit here and there. So,
yeah.
I mean, we were pretty on par. We were on par with. Now, I mean, we both took Ohio State to cover, Nebraska to cover, or Michigan State to cover, Michigan to cover, Illinois to cover. We both took Northwestern to cover. And then, yeah, I took Penn State to cover. You did not take Penn State to cover. You have UCLA covering in that one.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. Thanks for being here, everybody. Zach, thank you for coming on to pick all the games. Like I said, around the Big Ten Thursday morning, catch Big Jeff Thursday night, me and him, and then you can catch me in college football with Sam on Friday morning. Premieres on Thursday and Friday morning, both at 9 a.m. Be there in the chat, and we'll have a great time. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.